Hello everyone, welcome back to these inside my head kind of video things. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to start this video out at first, mostly because video games are such a large subject, even with a history that spans less than 50 years. It seemed a fairly easy way to start out, so I just put this little intro together. Now on to the actual content. I'm not covering a full history of video games, just a look at how the games themselves have changed over the years. As pointed out, games have a history of just 42 years. The first of these was, of course, the famous Pong, released in 1972. Since then, various revisions of the game have been made. One of the early iconic games that was wildly popular with people was Pac-Man. By giving a more expansive gameplay for the time, by incorporating multiple levels, lives, enemies, and bonuses. Another game that was easily accessible to home gaming was Star Wars on the Atari 2600. Similar to Pac-Man in most aspects, but instead of a single screen level, it utilized side-scrolling. The latter of the two being the first video game I'd ever played. Computers were not left out of the mix either. The early popular game, especially among schools, was Oregon Trail. Because computers had more processing power than early game consoles, while mostly text-based, Oregon Trail had resource management incorporated into it. Not long after, advanced games came along as well as new ways to play them. Tetris, one of the first handheld platform games, having simple graphics but addictive gameplay. On the home console side, platformers like Mario Bros. And Contra upped the game of side-scrollers. Bubble Bobble was an early cooperative game where both players worked together to finish levels, but no real improvement on what it looked like. Skipping ahead to the consoles that were able to outpace computers easily are roleplay games like Star Ocean Second Story. This game, while story-driven, was fairly open-ended, giving choices to the player that affected the story and ultimately giving one of a variety of endings. Another game that drew people in was Final Fantasy VII. More story-driven than Star Ocean, but the story connected the player to the characters in a much deeper fashion. Fighting games were also popular, letting friends compete to see who was better. Further console development increased the graphics of the games and gave the developers the ability to give more open worlds and things for the players to find. God of War is a good example of an explorable world that utilizes puzzles and with it adult themes, showing video games weren't just for kids. With the speed of the internet moving to broadband, this opened up a whole new world for games. On the Xbox, a game that really capitalized on this was Halo, letting people play in teams or against each other without having to use the same console or even being in the same general area. Computers weren't just sitting idly by, but there really wasn't anything they could do that the consoles hadn't already done. More recently, however, computer gaming has erupted. Now games that previously only would appear on consoles are now on computers, like Far Cry 3. Computers also pumped new life into old game types. Binding of Isaac harkens back to days of the first Legend of Zelda, but with much improvement on the graphics. Computers also capitalized on indie games and free-to-play. Planetside 2 is one of these. It looks and plays just like any game that would cost $50 on any console.
Okay, and I can't talk about computer gaming without talking about Minecraft, which is an open world game that really there are some points to it, but overall, like there is an overall objective to beat it and achievements that you can do. But in essence, it's also a sandbox world where you can pretty much do anything you like. Like right now I'm in creative mode and building this thing. Um, Another thing as far as computer games go that they beat out consoles very, very well on, I guess, is the ability to modify the game beyond its original intended purpose. They're like right now I'm not running any mods, but you can make Minecraft more than what the designer did. There's different mods you can do. There's things you can put on, like to make it an adventure game and different things like that. And there have been a lot of other computer games that have been released out on the consoles that have gone out and done that. Right now, since it came out before, a really popular one has always been Arma 2, and it's because they put a zombie game modification in it. So doing that makes computer games even more open-ended than gives more possibilities, I should say, than any console ever could. And so, yeah, without really any mention about what consoles and computers are doing, games on computers really have the advantage as far as making players happy with the content and letting them change it however they want, provided they know how.
So I hope you all enjoyed the little video of our games past and present. I know there was a lot that I missed, and some of it I didn't cover very in-depthly. That's partially because this is only the look of the games, not really a whole history of video games. But that being said, with the recent debut of PlayStation 4 and the already available Wii U, along with the recent debut of the Xbox One, there's really no telling how games will change in the future. We can be sure, however, that game developers will continue to push the envelope of the technology available. Again, there's also what looks like it's going to be fairly successful if they can market it correctly. A piece of technology called the Oculus Rift. They're concentrating mostly on computers for that because it's basically virtual reality, but it looks the same as if you were viewing high def television, but right in front of your eyeballs. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you liked this, click like. If you feel so inclined, add it to your favorites, and please comment below. I'm always interested in what you have to say. Thank you.